Howdy, folks. It's Tuesday, November 6th. It's election day. John Vancura, who I always talk about, John.
Hello.
John and I, we're going to take this piece of white oak and we're going to plane it. Some time ago, I had talked about how I straighten or flatten the board. And we had done that on this. You can see here it's not flat, but I've got it essentially flat all the way through, so that what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the other side flat, and that's why it'll be up, because when it goes through, it's going to go through the machine here, and there's blades, and they'll take the top off of this. And again, the reason we have all of this apparatus, these tables and that plywood, is to be able to feed that through, because that's a heavy board. And when it comes out over here, we'll see that it's going to look, the board itself is going to look a lot different than this, because this is rough lumber. You know, this, the farmer cut down, cut it to size and let it dry for probably 4 or 5 years. Now this morning, John and I took 2 pieces of white oak over here. Here's one of them, for instance. This will be for the service store. And I want you to look. You see, it's wider here than it is down here. Now, John, would you tell them why that is?
It's the threshold for the bottom of the door. So the door comes in, it'll sit behind here,
Yeah.
and any water that gets on the face will run off. And then on the bottom, we'll put a kerf cut in here.
What's a kerf?
It's just a single blade cut about 1/4 of an inch in, so the water will drain off.
Okay,
Because
so
water
it'll hit
has-
that and it'll drop. It'll drop.
Because water has surface tension. If you don't have that kerf cut in there, it'll just continue back.
Okay.
And go right in under the
Okay,
floor.
now I see you got a big crack here, John. Why is that? What are you going to do about that?
I'll fix it.
So, John, you and I have been working together for since August of last year, and so he's got another project that he's working on now, but he's back here for a couple of days. Yesterday, John did. John put down this white piece of metal here, and it goes the entire distance of the backyard, all the way to the end. And why was that, John? What was the purpose of putting that metal down?
That's to protect the insulation. The code requires that you have 2 inches of insulation on the outside of the house now.
And that's that foam
The
stuff.
foam, the high density foam.
Yep,
And so you need something to protect that, because it'll deteriorate over time.
yep.
So that gives you a finish, and then you'll have the patio a little butt up to the face of that.
Okay. And now, how did you cut our threshold here, John, at an angle?
Well, we figured out the pitch.
This is that bandsaw that I keep
Bandsaw.
talking about.
Yep.
And so you figured out a pitch. Well, your table is crooked, John.
Yep. You got to go from a way to drain the water, so you have to start at a thicker point by the door and make sure that the water runs away from the door so it doesn't ruin anything.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's all about protecting the structure.
Okay. And then we tilted this table. The blade stays straight. Unlike a table saw, when you cut an angle on a table saw, the blade on the table saw tilts and the table stays flat. Here, the blade stays perpendicular or vertical, but the table tilts so that you get your angle, right?
Yep.
And how long did it take us, John, and what's this for?
That's to
of
make
this.
sure that everything stays straight. When you're at a bandsaw and you're cutting an angle, the wood has a tendency to want to move, and you want to keep it as flat as you can. So all that is to make sure that that board stays vertical as you're cutting it.
And how did that work for us?
Excellent.
Excellent. How long did it take? We cut 2 thresholds. This is for the garage door, and this one here is for the door to the workshop because it's a bigger door. How long would it take, John, to cut one of these thresholds with that saw the way we had it?
2 minutes.
2
Fantastic.
minutes.
Fantastic.
So John and I both, he was laying awake at night. I was on the internet trying to figure out how you'd cut an angle on a bandsaw, and neither one of us had an answer this morning until we then fiddled around with it, found how much the table would tip, and we're just happier than the pigs in fresh mud, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Now what we're going to do is this will become our threshold, won't it, John? For one of those French doors. Now, that's probably 8 feet long. How much of that will we use?
78 inches.
78 inches. The other 20 we'll use probably to put wings on these other thresholds, so that then the trim boards outside sit on top of that. And right now we're thinking we'll just put like 6 or 7 coats of spar varnish on it once we get it all cut and installed. So
And all sealed up.
yep. So I think the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to run this board through this rigid planer, and John will take the camera and he'll take a picture like right here of me running it through, and then you'll see how nice that board looks when it comes out. It may not be entirely cut down off the rough stuff, but you know, it'll often take a couple of passes, and we'll just show you what that thing will do with one pass. And again, here's how it looks. Here's a big stain right here. When it comes off, you'll see we may very well be done with that stain. So John, I'm going to give you the camera.
Okay.
And all you got to do is just watch me run it through, and then we'll call it quits here in a bit. Ready?
Okay.
We got these edges, okay? Now what we'll do is now we'll maybe take this a half a turn, and we'll come back and run it through again. And then after this, then we'll just stop the video. But this will give you an idea. But what that's doing, what this planer is doing, is it's taking off these high sides. And when we get done, all this rough material in the middle will be gone. Like here, you can see how pretty that board looks. And you see all the beautiful grain. And you look back here, and this is how gray it was. That's what a planer does. So, thanks for following our progress. Bye.